Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I think I recall from Thursday's video, I told you guys to go outside and touch some grass this weekend, have some fun. I sure did that. I think maybe I did that too much. I am sore today. A lot of work outside, a lot of work inside. We did bike rides and everything else, but it was a great weekend nonetheless. But we got obviously some things to get into today. One of the things we're going to talk about is how things have changed a little bit with the miners recently. We'll take a look at what I'm talking about there in a second. We'll also take a look at Bitdeer, which is, well, they reported on Friday that they provided a roadmap. So we'll take a look at the roadmap there. It's actually pretty interesting, but I'm wondering if it was maybe too much information there on their end. But we'll discuss it. And then we'll just take a look at the miners as well. How did they do compared to Bitcoin this past week? And a lot of the miners did really well this past week against Bitcoin here. So we'll take a look at that. What else will we take a look at? I think that's it. We'll get into Q&A at the end. We'll call it a day, so it should be pretty easy here, all right? But as always, you guys know the drill here, not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research, and I'm invested in the following coins and companies for full disclosure, and I'm not paid by any of these Bitcoin mining companies. Hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy this type of content. Helps me out tremendously, obviously. But let's take a look at some Bitcoin charts here really quick. While we're at it, we can see here this is network hash rate right now. This is about a day delay or so. It bottomed out at 566 exahash on the 7-day average. If we look at the where we're at right now, we're at 580 exahash currently. We peaked here not too far, or not about, what was this, about 2 weeks ago or so, May 26th. We peaked at 657 exahashes on the 7-day average. If we look at the 30-day average, that is kind of continuing to go down and up a little bit here now to 603 exahash. I think we broke below, 598 exahash is what we broke on the 30-day average on it. So we're kind of trending upwards again a little bit here. We'll see how this continues going forward. If we look at the Bitcoin transaction fees here, we had a huge spike over the weekend here on Friday. They were up to 312 BTC per day. That is a significant amount that is going to be really, really good for the miners, at least for a little bit of time, right? But it's still very good. And then on Saturday, we were at 155 BTC per day, and today, Sunday, we were at 73. So still way high from where we were in like the 20s and the 19s areas, the teens here prior to that. So any kind of improvement in that we can get, we'll take it. It's all bullish for the miners. Now they're going to be generating more revenue for the month because of it. So that's great to see. And then we look at the hash price here. This is on the 7-day average. We can see here that we peaked on June 8th, which was yesterday, at about $95 per petahash per day. We haven't been there since, before the halving event, actually, for like 3 months here. You can see here we were at 107, we got to 119, and then the day of the halving event, we spiked tremendously. We went to $172 per petahash, and then we bottomed out at roughly 45, and we've been slowly climbing back up as Bitcoin price has been going up, and as transaction fees have been also kind of increasing as well. Okay, so that's kind of the main charts on the Bitcoin network that we want to take a look at. Here is the price of Bitcoin right now. It is down just slightly. It was up, well, I think this is on the new day. Yeah, on the new day. But today was up 0.48%, not bad. Was down a little bit on Saturday. We had a great start to Friday, but then things turned around for whatever reason, and Bitcoin went on a little dive here. It went down as low as 68,298, and the high we had at 71,974. So in the morning, things were looking up pretty good. We were thinking, oh, okay, maybe we're going to start testing maybe the previous highs here in the 73,000 range. Maybe we'll get there, but it never materialized, unfortunately for us, and when we came down. And that took down all of the miners here, because in the morning, the miners were doing great on Friday. But by the end of the day, everybody was in the red here, except for, there was only one. You can see here, IREN. IREN was the only one that was still in the green for the day, which is not surprising because of the way that they've been running here recently. They've been having a really, really good run up here ever since they provided the guidance for this year as far as hash rate growth and all that stuff. We can see here on the chart that it has gone up pretty nicely here. It's gone up to the high, 173% in basically 26 trading days. So what is that? That's roughly 5 weeks, right? So in 5 weeks, it's had a nice rally here from that bottom there a little bit. So this one, I think, is probably this one in CORZ is probably one of the two that are doing the best here in the last couple of weeks. And we'll take a look at those charts here in a second. But A couple of things that I wanted to point out to you guys also on some of these miners here as well. They've had a nice rally here. Let's see, Bitdigital has had a nice run up here since April. It's gone up. We'll go through all of these miners here really quick just to kind of point this out to you guys. But to the peak here was up 64%. It's now only 46% from the bottom, so that's still pretty good. Bitdeer here, similar story as well with them. You can see that from the bottom here, more or less over here to the top, they were up 46%. They are now currently at 39%, so it's still really good. Bitfarms, similar story again, like the rest of them here. From the bottom here to the top, it was 68%. It is now at 56%. And we got Cypher here. Cypher's been trading a little bit weird here. It's been going in this sideways pattern here, or accumulation phase, or whatever you want to call it. But it's having a hard time breaking above the 0.68 Fibonacci retracement level here, on my chart at least. And we can see here from the bottom that it reached, where was that? It was probably back here, right around May 1st or so. It's only gone up 35%, and it actually closed out Friday only being up 19% from then. So it's definitely kind of range bound, at least right now. Oops, didn't want to do that. Cleanspark here, same thing, kind of range bound, trading sideways here for a while now. If we go back to, was it like May? Yeah, here's May. It's basically flat for the month of May and going into June already as well. So it needs to break above this Fibonacci retracement level, 0.786. And at that point, we might do much better, but it's been definitely trading sideways here. CORZ, oh my gosh. CORZ has had a huge run up here. CORZ from the bottom here, sometime in April, all the way to the top here. It's up 222%. It closed down at 198%. So it's had a huge run up here. And this is one of the reasons why I want to talk to you guys about how things have changed in the miners a little bit. So we might as well dive into that a little bit. All right, we're seeing two companies here right now, CORZ and Bitdigital as well, with having sizable contracts for AI or HPC, whatever you want to look at it. Excuse me. Bitdigital currently has a $15 million contract with a customer of theirs for 3 years. They're supposed to be upping that to $100 million here. We don't know when, but they're saying that they're in talks right now about it. And then you got CORZ coming out, basically, when was it, last week or the week before? They got, actually came out on Monday, I think, that they got a customer CoreWeave to sign with them for 12 years for $3.5 billion. That equates to approximately $290 million per year on that. That's if they utilize the whole 200 megawatts there. So we're seeing kind of, the only thing is with CORZ has a much larger business segment in Bitcoin mining itself, right? Whereas Bitdigital much smaller, right? They're about 3 exahash. CORZ is 20 some exahash right now, and going to be possibly going even higher than that. Bitdigital is also going to be growing a little bit higher than that, also to 6 exahash, but not as substantive growth as we're seeing with like CORZ or some of the other miners here. So based on this, the growth that CORZ has for self-mining, the business side with the AI things as well, that's driving the stock up. And you can see in the chart here alone how that's had a huge impact on the stock price right now. And that's why I'm saying it's based on how things have changed, is even if you have AI, but not a lot of growth in Bitcoin, it's not being that well rewarded. And you can see here on Bitdigital, unfortunately, they're not being valued by their operations for even self-mining, as even for the AI side of things, right? And that's something that Sam has talked about, where he might spin off the businesses into different segments in order to get maybe better appreciation from the investors if they kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, silo the businesses to each one, Bitcoin mining and then the AI side of things. But then you're also seeing with CORZ, where CORZ has both businesses, but they're both growing really well. And you can see that huge price appreciation that we're seeing here. Then we also have the miners that are not into like AI, where you have Cleanspark, right? They're not going to be dabbling into AI. Marathon, for the most part, has stated that they're not dabbling into AI either as well. Riot, I don't think has any ambitions for AI right now. And those are kind of like the top 3 big miners right now. They're not really getting into it. CORZ is in that list as well as a big miner based on their hash rate. But they've kind of pivoted a little bit. They're not shying away from also saying that they're going to continue to grow their hash rate going forward. But they pivoted a little bit. They're going to be putting some megawatts towards the HPC side of the business. and because they were able to get that large whale of a customer for that. It kind of makes sense there. So what do I expect to happen here in the future? Could we possibly see like Cleanspark, Marathon, and Riot also getting into the AI space? I don't know. That's a tough one. I think it would depend on the customer that they would get. If it's somebody the size of CoreWeave or something similar to that, where they had a multi-year contract, potentially at that point, they might dabble in it, or at least, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm drawing a blank. They might at least go into conversations with a customer like that, right? Doesn't mean that they would pull the trigger and do it, where they would have to change out, or at least not remodel, retrofit some of the facilities that they have to do that, depending on the customer, right? If they need inference, that's a whole different ballgame than just regular language model learning, things like that don't need it. So all of that just goes basically to say that there is some changes happening in the mining space. Is it for the better or is it for the worse? I think it's for the better. I think some of these miners that are getting these huge customers for HPC will not maybe go down as much in the long run when we have a bear market, potentially, depending on how they're being viewed as more of a HPC business or more of a Bitcoin mining business. I think that's going to be a challenge for them going forward. But then again, maybe jumping ahead a little bit, but could we also not see a huge bear market? What if we only have a 15-20% correction and then we continue to go up? It's a different cycle this time. I don't know. We'll have to keep an eye on it. But this is kind of where I'm seeing the differences and the changes that are happening in the mining space a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of a pivot to the AI, HPC side of things. And we have possibly, actually, I think for the most part, we probably have more customers talking, or more customers, miners talking about getting into the AI, HPC side of things, whether they're dabbling in it or just kind of dipping their toes into it, than we have of miners that are saying that they're not going to do it right now. But that could change also, right? We also have miners right now that don't hodl anything, and eventually they could start to hodl, depending on how things progress for them. So it's kind of one of those things where it's not set in stone that they can't do it or won't do it. It's one of those things that's more or less wait and see and how things progress. Okay, but yeah, that was it. Kind of the take on what I've been seeing here, some of the changes that are taking place in the Bitcoin mining space right now. But continuing on here, if we look at Hive here, Hive pretty good growth here as well, similar to some of the other ones that we had here. It is up approximately to the top, 42%. It's now at 28% over the last 21 days. Trading Hut 8 has had a pretty nice run up here. If we look all the way back down to April, from April all the way to the top here, it is up 55%. Finished out the day on Friday about 39% from the bottom there. Okay, IREN, like we talked about, huge run up here, similar to CORZ. CORZ actually got them beat a little bit here by about, what is that, 50% or something like that. IREN's at 177%. It finished out the day on Friday up 149%. Marathon, kind of similar to Cleanspark. It's been trading sideways here. From the bottom, let's see, from the bottom here, this was on April 15th to the top that they reached here, which was on May 20th. It was up 59%, but on Friday, it was just up to 49%, and it closed at 34%, right on that, right around here, which is, what is that, $19, $27. It's been kind of range bound here, and you can see it on this for quite a while, which is kind of surprising. And then we got Riot. Riot, same thing, kind of range bound, trading sideways here for quite a while. If we look at where it bottomed out here, it actually peaked, but this was back here, right around there. Here, I mean, we peaked here within a couple of days. It was up 63%, but over the long time here, on Friday, it was only up 34%, and then finished out 24% up. And then who else do I have here? Wolf. Wolf has had a nice run up here as well. You can see that. And then it is up from the bottom here to the top. It was up 114%. And then it closed on Friday, being up 97% from the bottom. So Wolf has had a really good rally here in the last couple of days. I'm not sure why that is. The only thing I can think of, because of the amount of mergers and acquisitions talk that we've been having, right? Riot trading a bit by Bitfarms, and we had CoreWeave trading by Core Scientific as well. Are people thinking that maybe Wolf would be a good candidate for a buyout potentially? And is that the reason why it's going up right now? Other than that, I mean, there's really no news that should propel the stock other than maybe being a little bit undervalued. But just the amount of increase in share price that they've had makes me think it's something different, something where people are maybe just betting on merger or acquisition or something like that. Probably more acquisition than anything else, because they do have good pricing, electricity. They have pretty good infrastructure as well. The only thing that they have is now that's a little bit of debt left that they got to pay off. But other than that, they'd probably be a good candidate for a potential buyout offer. So maybe that's what's happening there. But let me know what you guys think on that one. Okay, so that is it on the miners. It was a great week for them. We'll take a look at the numbers here in a second for them. But before we do that, let's get into the story here on Bitdeer. So Bitdeer unveils Seal Miner technology roadmap committed to enhancing transparency in the mining industry. I think this is great that they want to enhance transparency, but I think by doing this, I wonder if they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot a little bit by doing so. And I'll explain why. But here's what we have. So Bitdeer has a long-term commitment towards enhancing transparency in our industry. We believe that the financial models of Bitcoin miners are significantly impacted by price uncertainty. That is the case. A lot of times when the miners and Bitcoin's going up, the ASIC miners themselves go up with pretty much the price of Bitcoin, right? A lot of the companies were looking at 12 to 14 months ROI time frame as far as where Bitcoin is going. So like Bitmain would price the miners based on that, right? Could you get 12 months to 14 months ROI? And that's why we saw in 2021 machines go up to like $80, $90 per terahash, whereas now the miners are buying them at $14 and $16 per terahash. So I think that would be good. I think I know you're probably not going to get that, but I think it would be possibly better for the industry if you could do a cost plus structure. So if your cost to make one machine is, let's say, 1,000, should you get maybe 100% profit on that, sell it for 2,000, right? Something like that. But I don't know. I don't know if that's the right way to do it. The way we've been doing it in the past has been hard on some miners, especially if they bought towards the high end per terahash, right, in the past. But it's also great if you buy it in the bottom part of it. So let's see here. If these two aspects of transparency are not addressed, the mining community is more likely to suffer severe financial losses. Yeah, kind of like I explained just now. Thus, we are pleased to narrow this information gap by disclosing our R&D technology roadmap for seal miners, said, I'm going to be not able to pronounce his name, Linguhui Kong, Chief Business Officer at Bitdeer. So I apologize if I butchered your name on that one. But here's the roadmap. So this is actually a really, really interesting roadmap here that they provided us. And it's very, very, well, that's not forward thinking. I'm drawing a blank on adjectives today for some reason. But huge growth, or not huge growth, huge improvements in joules per terahash efficiency, right? Currently, the Seal 1 miner, which they're going to be getting here shortly, released in Q1 of 2024, they're supposed to get production into like Q3 or something like that this year, right? 18.1 joules per terahash. That's kind of in line, close to the current model from Bitmain, the S21. The Seal 2, which is expected in Q3 of 2024, which probably will ship in probably Q1 of 2025. That's 14 joules per terahash. That's in line with like the Bitmain S21 Pro miners right now, right? But then check this out. From 14 joules per terahash to the next one is Seal 03, 10 joules per terahash in Q4 of 2024. Right, so that's when it's going to get out, and then I'm guessing it's going to probably come out in like Q2 of 2025, potentially Q3, somewhere around there for people to buy. We don't have any pricing on these either, but then check this out, 5 joules per terahash by Q2 in 2025. So basically a year away from now, you're going from 15 joules per terahash, which is the best miner out there right now, the Ant miner S21 Pro. All right, it's around 15 joules per terahash right now. You're improving that, what was that, going to be 3x, something like that improvement in efficiency. That is huge. So they're definitely going to be attacking Bitmain here with this. But the other part of it that I want to kind of convey here a little bit, why I think they might be shooting themselves in the foot, is if you provide this kind of roadmap, you can have people that can plan ahead, right? And if I'm going to be buying miners, and let's just say I bought miners recently, I'm going to be getting miners in by the end of the year sometime, right? I'm not looking to get any of these miners here, right? Possibly. The one that I am going to be looking at is possibly this miner here. Yes, there might be other people out there that are going to be needing miners and can't wait till possibly like Q4 of 2025 to get the miners. But if you can do that, I think you're going to be skipping these miners here, right? And I wonder if they're just trying to get maybe market dominance here a little bit, take some of the advantage that Bitmain has had over the years by just putting out such improvements, such huge gains and improvements so quickly. We've seen obviously improvements also from Bitmain over the years, where we had the 100 terahash miners just about a year and a half to 2 years ago. Now we got the 200 terahash miners as well, and the efficiency has gotten a lot better. It has improved by probably 50% or more. If I'm doing the math in my head here, I think it went from like 29 joules per terahash down to the 18 joules per terahash, 17 right now. So that is all great. Like I said, I think this is just a huge improvement in it. But I'm wondering, like I said, if they're shooting themselves in the foot just because of the timelines that they put out here when these things are going to be available and how quickly they're going to be putting them out, right? Usually if you want to get miners, especially these miners here, some of these older ones, these probably are not going to be getting too much mass produced into the public. People are going to be looking at like the 14, maybe the 10 even, where they're going to get into. But if you can wait, and a lot of guys are going to be probably thinking, we should probably wait and get into these here. So somebody maybe like Hut 8, where they've been saying they're waiting for better and better miners to come out there with better efficiencies. Well, this is what maybe what they're waiting for. Maybe get some of these, but then if you can get these, you probably want to get those because those are the most efficient there. So that's only going to be like a year and a half out based on that. So the speed in which they're delivering these is very, very impressive. It's also a little concerning because it's just so much efficiency is being added into the market so quickly. I would have almost preferred to have seen like baby steps maybe on this, where you get to 14 joules per terahash by the end of this year, get to 10 joules by the end of next year, right? So 2025, and then come out with the 5 joules per terahash in like going into 2026. So you're not cannibalizing your own revenue stream here by having this one out there already being known, and it's like, I'm not getting this one, I'm not getting this one. This is the one I want. Right? So that's just the kind of way I'm thinking about it. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. Maybe there will be a bunch of demand here for this anyways, for these 14 and 10 joules per terahash miners as well. Okay? You can see here when they're supposed to be coming in. Mass production for the Seal 3 is going to be Q2 2025. And then the Seal 4, which is the most efficient, 5.5 to 6 joules per terahash, not until Q4 of 2025. So possibly, mass produced with expected delivery starting in Q4, so by the end of the year. So we're looking at a year and a half out. But yeah, I think this is great. Competition is obviously always good to have in this space. We now have Bitmain, we got MicroBT, we have What's Miner, who else is in there? Canon is in there, Canon. We have also Argo getting into it. Now we have Bitdeer as well in there. So the more companies that are doing this is a good thing for the whole sector as a whole. Okay, but that's it on that one. We can discuss this if you guys want any questions and things like that. But let's get into what we have here going on right now with how the week progressed for the miners. So here are the charts that we always look at weekly here. We look at from where the miners came from in the 52-week lows to where they are now, and from the 52-week highs, how far they are away from that as well. And these gray, I think these are like light gray, light blue bars. This is from the 52-week lows. So how far or how high have the miners gone from that point? And we can see Cleanspark still leading here, but IREN is catching up here. So right, talked about IREN having a really good week here this past week. It's up 277% from its bottom this past 52 weeks. TeraWolf is up 247%. Again, for, like I said, no real reason with TeraWolf here other than maybe just a buyout candidate potentially. And then you got Core. Core is up 198% right now from this 52-week bottom. And then we got Bitcoin up 179, almost 180%. So these four miners have outperformed Bitcoin here in the last 52 weeks. Everybody else is either close to Bitcoin or way below. So Bitdeer is pretty close, 163%. Bitfarms, 161% as well. Then you got Cypher at 87%, Hut 8 at 56%, BitDigital 48%. Right, BitDigital, we talked about them. BitDigital, great AI customer, great revenue there. Not a lot of growth in Bitcoin mining. That's the reason the stock is where it's at right now, unfortunately. Hive, 28.4%. Riot, 24.6%. So that's like the worst one performing there. And then you can see how close they are to the 52-week highs. Bitcoin's only 6% away. CORZ only 7.5% away. IREN, 84%. TeraWolf, 23% from its 52-week highs. And Cleanspark, 37%. Cypher's 29%. And then the rest are in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And you got Hive that's close to 60% away from that. Now, when we look at last week's performance, it was the week for the miners. It was a great week for them. CORZ was up 64% last week. TeraWolf up 42%. IREN 35%. Bitdeer 19%. Hut 8, 11 along with Hive. Cypher 9 along, and then Bitfarms 7. The BitDigital 5. Bitcoin was up only 3% last week, and I track it Friday to Friday. Riot was basically flat on the week. Marathon was down 1%, and Cleanspark was down 3% on the week. So those guys have underperformed Bitcoin here in the past week. But when we look at the 4 weeks, you can see things change a little bit here. You can see that at that point, Bitcoin's up 3%, and then still Riot, Marathon, and Cleanspark have underperformed that. BitDigital up 20, Bitfarms up 37, Cypher 5, Hive 15, Hut 8 only 6, Bitdeer 28, IREN up 75%, TeraWolf 58%, Core 111%. So those, if you got into those recently, which I talked about me switching over from Cleanspark a little bit to IREN as well, and then buying some more, buying into Core because of the news that came out here just this past week. You should be up quite nicely. If anybody bought CORZ when they were in Chapter 11 bankruptcy and they went down to like 4 cents, if you buy like $1,000 worth of shares in there, you're going to be doing really well there. On the 8 week, we can still see the same, well, a little bit of change here, obviously. Bitcoin's up 9% at that point. Riot is below that along with Cleanspark. Cleanspark's actually down 9%. Marathon's up 17%, but the biggest gainers here is Core, 151, IREN, 113%, and then we got a couple in the 30% range, 20% range, and some also here a little bit lower. So Bitcoin's up 9, we got Cypher down, only up 5, and Hive only up 3. Those have lagged behind as well. And then when we look at the 12 weeks, Bitcoin's up 9%. We got Riot being down 35%, Marathon being down 20%, Cleanspark down 5%, Bitfarms down 27, Hive down 27, or 21, 27. And then Core is up 148% still, IREN 70%, TeraWolf 52%. Those have been doing the best here recently. So we got the Wolf Army out there supporting TeraWolf. And I don't know if we have like an IREN army out there with support, but obviously there's a lot of support for IREN. We've been talking about it for quite a while. I've been talking about it since 2022. Yeah, back in 2022, right? I wanted to get into it back then, but then they had to return the miners under the SPV. So I put them on hold a little bit, and then I wanted to start getting back into them back in November, December, but I wasn't buying enough. So I did make a big purchase here recently in the last 2 weeks on them as well, and that's turned out to be a good decision there. Okay, that's how the things played out here. If we look at the miners here on the weekly, on this table here, we can see that we've had a pretty good week here. We were in the green. Prior week, we were in the red. Prior 2 weeks to that, we were in the green. And we can start seeing that we may be getting a little bit more green here happening than we have in the past, which is going to be a good sign going forward for us, I think. Okay. So I think that is it. I think we talked about a lot of stuff here. So let's get into the Q&A side of things, and we'll call it a day at that point. But let's get into it here. So Q&A. Also, Q&A is going to be a little bit delayed here. And I may have to adjust my camera a little bit on this one next time at least, or make the screen a little bit bigger for the picture. But let's get into the Q&A side of things. Let me know if you guys also like the ticker symbols in the bottom here running. If not, I'll take it off. Not a big deal. Just thought maybe put in some more information there for you guys, especially during the week when we do these. Yeah, but let me get into that, see if you guys have any questions, and we'll call it a day. Okay. My guy, Jules Portage have been plummeting since the ASIC was created. Very proven efficiency record, but whatever helps you sleep at night. I'm not sure what that's referring to, but yes, efficiency has been improving ever since then. Each year we're getting more and more efficient miners, which is great to see. Let's see, if this is from Hank the Tank. If Bitdeer's roadmap is correct, this will give rise to sharp rise in depreciated assets on balance sheets. I assume this progressive efficiency schedule will likely apply to all brands of miners. Maybe, yeah, but that's definitely going to have an impact on the depreciation numbers for the miners. If they're going to be changing them out that quickly. I don't think they're going to be changing them out that quickly, but some people might hold off for a little bit before they buy newer miners. Let's see. Anyone know about DGHI and their proxy vote, possible liquidation of fund? I have not heard anything about that. I don't know why they would liquidate the fund, but I'll take a look at it. I'm a DGHI owner in that one. I'll take a look to see if I can find anything on it. Let's see. Mark has a good point too. Ambitious timelines that go missed get punished by markets. Yes, that could be the case too. Thanks for making video and sharing your here. What's your thoughts on Coinbase stock? Would it 2x or 3x in this Bitcoin cycle? I think it will probably follow Bitcoin like it has in the past. So a 2x, 3x I think is possible. If not, maybe you might get a 4 or 5x even out of that one potentially. Okay, JBots, he likes the ticker tape. Okay, cool. And so does Perch to Learn. Cool. Okay. How many megawatts does Bitfarms currently have, and what will it be by the end of the year? I don't track megawatts. I track hash rate. I think, let me see. I would have to probably take a look at it. I don't know if we have it reported on their website. But if you go to the website, I think that has a pretty good breakdown of it possibly in there. But I don't track it. I probably should start tracking that kind of stuff. Is Hut 8 a good price to buy right now? I've talked about Hut 8 many times before. Hut 8 right now, they're not seeing the growth in hash rate, unfortunately. So that's what's keeping the stock down. Like 70%, 80% of their market cap is based on their HODL value right now. So they're not being priced on their operations. They're not even being priced on their management services. It doesn't look like, maybe some a little bit. But majority of their market cap is based on their HODL right now. So for that reason, I think it's down in price because of that. Now, if they come out with news that they're going to be getting to, I don't know, 10, 15 exahash or something like that by the end of the year, I think that would lift the stock up tremendously. But we haven't seen anything from them yet on it. And quite frankly, I don't expect anything because they've been kind of mum about it. But I'd be happily surprised if they do. Let's see, your question, when do you think Cleanspark will start moving again? I think Bitcoin starts getting to 75, 80,000. I think it'll start moving again. It was moving up nicely Friday morning. If you guys were watching, that was like up 8, 9% or something like that on the day. And then Bitcoin fell and everybody else fell along with it except for IREN. So all we need is Bitcoin to start moving up a little bit. I think it will move not only Cleanspark, but it'll move some of the other stocks as well, like Marathon, Riot, some of the other ones beyond that as well. Do you think there should be some rotation from Cleanspark into IREN or Bitfarms? There might be some rotation going out, right? What was it, a week and a half ago? I told you guys that I also sold whatever my cost basis was for Cleanspark shares. I sold those and then put those into IREN because I saw what was happening there. I'm like, okay, I don't like to chase stocks, but I knew I had to do something about it because I wanted to get more IREN shares. So I did that. And there might be a lot of people doing that also, right, where they're in profit. I was in profit, depending when you bought, I was in profit like 400%. So I'm like, okay, let's take out the cost basis there and put it into IREN, which I think is going to possibly run as well, if not maybe a little bit harder than Cleanspark potentially. We don't know. So that could be happening there. As far as rotation this week or something like that going forward, should be some rotation from Cleanspark into IREN or Bitfarms. Yeah, Bitfarms, I don't know about Bitfarms. Bitfarms has had FUD around it for a while. With missing a CEO right now, buyout target from Riot as well. I don't know if that's going to Bitfarms. I would think it's going probably more into IREN, I think, right now. Is IREN the best play this cycle? It's one of the best plays. I don't know if it's the best play, but it's one of the best plays there. You got IREN in there. You got CORZ. I think Bitfarms figures their stuff out, gets a new CEO as well. That could be a really, really good play going forward. Who else do we have in there? Cleanspark, I think, as well. Could be still a really good play. Marathon, Riot, depending. Marathon fixes their issues with uptime. Riot, same thing. So there could be a couple there. Let's see. You think TeraWulf could be repriced due to their AI HPC efforts? But possibly. But you have also other companies that are into HPC AI. You got IREN in there. You got Cypher's doing it as well. You got TeraWulf, obviously, and then you have not Cleanspark. Cleanspark's not doing it, but you have Hive, Hut 8. Who else am I missing there? Maybe, but then you have the ones that are doing it. Bitdeer or not Bitdeer, BitDigital and, well, Bitdeer's going to be doing it, but BitDigital and CORZ right now. But I don't know if it's being repriced because of that. I think it's maybe being repriced because of a potential buyout. People are maybe thinking of, maybe somebody will want to buy the stock, buy the company actually. Let's see here. Hank the Tank. I think the Mighty Mafia want to run Riot this week. Yeah, and they've been trying to, well, they did a pretty good job last week. Definitely was up based on the short report, and then stock did go up. What's up with Riot and Mara? Both have had issues in the past with their operations. That's why they're kind of down. I mean, Marathon's still the number one miner there with their market cap. So it's just a matter of time before they start running probably again. But it's also kind of going sideways because their operations have been not great over the last, well, since the beginning of the year through kind of like April, and then May has gotten better for them. So that's what we need to see from them, is that operations getting better even going forward. If you can only invest in Bitfarms, Hut, Hive, which one would you invest right now? If only out of those three, I would go into Bitfarms. You at least have growth in there right now. You do have some FUD, but that when that FUD does get cleared up, things should be looking much better there. Any thoughts on why Cleanspark is underperforming other miners? I think it's just, it's had a huge run up, right? It's up still on the top in the last 52 weeks from any other miners. So I think it's because of that. People are maybe swing trading out of that one and getting into other miners as well that have had a nice report or nice news or something like that. And that's being kind of driving that down a little bit there as well. We also don't have any news how they're going to get to 32 exahash this year. They have bought facilities in Wyoming, but that's not going to be enough. We need more, and you know, time is ticking. So that could be also it. Maybe when they do come out with some news that they bought some additional sites to get to the 32 exahash this year and then 50 exahash next year, that will drive the stock up a little bit more. Any numbers in from Hive for May? I have not seen them yet. Hive is notoriously been like late to the game with the numbers. I don't know why. It's always taken them at least a week or two to get the numbers out. But yeah, I haven't seen the numbers yet. Question: I've heard others say Hive is the cheapest company by hash rate. Does this argument make you interested in investing in Hive? No. I look at it too. I see that also. But you also take a look at what is there going to be the future hash rate, right? Where are they growing? Things like that. Investors looking for growth. And if we're now seeing huge growth for that reason, it's not something I want to invest into. But does that mean that they're a bad company? No, they're a great company, but they're not growing as much as the other miners. So I think that's kind of where the money's going to flow, is flow into the miners that are going to be growing tremendously here. But that doesn't mean that that stock won't do well. Even if Bitcoin goes up 2x, 3x, they still could do, 4 or 5x, right? Or even better. And what about BitDigital megawatts? How much is owned, not hosted? Another question: do you think BitDigital MC will double, market cap will double if their AI doubles from? I don't know. Okay, so let's take the first question first. Megawatts. They don't own anything; they host everything, so they don't have any infrastructure on that one. So that's an easy one there. Will the market cap double if AI doubles from a 5? Yeah, I don't know. So that would be, instead of the 4 point some million that they're getting right now per month, they'll go to 8. So we're looking, I don't know if the market cap will double based on that. The market cap right now, what is the market cap? Let's take a look here. BitDigital, let me see here really quick. If I look at it, their market cap is, where is it at? Market capitalization, 315 million, that'd be 600. It could, potentially, right? It could potentially get to that. That would be a 6x on their revenue, roughly. So it's maybe possible that it could get there. Let's see. Are Cleanspark and Mara the kings of dilution again? They could be diluting again, too. That could be the reason why they're also staying down. But they're not the only companies that have diluted. You got Bitfarms in there. You got IREN in there. You got, who else? TerraWolf, Cypher. Everybody's pretty much named the company. They're pretty much diluting for the most part. Let's see. Mark says, not even Sue Ennis herself could convince me to buy Hut 8 shares. Yeah, not unless we get a good roadmap from them as far as what their hash rate growth is going to be going forward. Right now, they're mum about it. Hi, Seb. How about how much debt is holding in Wolf current hash rate and future hash rate by end of year? Let's take a look at that one. So if I go to my charts here, let's go to Wolf. Wolf has, I think they're down to, correct me if I'm wrong on this, I'm going off my memory here, but I think they paid down some of it to where they're like at 55 million now, something like that. At the end of Q1, or yeah, at the end of Q1, they had, let me see here, total current liabilities. Here, let me share my screen with you guys so you guys can see it also. Current portion of long-term debt, they were at 99 million, right? But they paid down some of it, so I think they're like at 70 something million, and they were supposed to pay down some more by the end of Q2, I believe, as well. So correct me if I'm wrong, it's somewhere around there. So it's gotten much, much better than where it was before. Now, as far as their current hash rate and future hash rate right now, their current hash rate is at 8 exahash, and this is combining their JVs that they also participate in. And their future hash rate is going to be 10, but if we look at, let me see if I have this marked down here, potentially self, let's see here. Hash rate, it's the optional 51324 S21s. They do have 6 exahash. If we take out 6 exahash from here, we're looking at 7.5 exahash roughly. We have a 10 combined. Yeah, so they would be at 7 exahash. That if they do execute on this optional one here, we get them to 13 exahash. But that's possibly not until 2025, I believe, if I'm not mistaken there. Right, so they do have some growth there, but it's just not a lot compared to what you're seeing from IREN going to 30 exahash this year, Cleanspark going to 32 exahash, Bitfarms going to 21, you got Marathon going to 50, and Riot's trying to get to 31 exahash, right? So that's kind of where you're seeing the divergence or the disparity between some of these miners, at least, on it. Okay, let's get into the Q&A. Let's see, IREN doesn't hold Bitcoin, but has good infrastructure. Why would the price of IREN increase if BTC price goes up and IREN has no Bitcoin? The reason it's going up is because of the, I guess you could say, perceived notion that they will be making more money in the future with their increase in hash rate going forward. All right, so that's kind of what's driving stock there right now. And we've seen that with other miners as well. Whenever they report, even if they don't hodl, but just the notion of having more hash rate, more revenue going forward is enough to drive some of these guys up. Ryan asks, any news on Hut? No, nothing yet. We haven't heard anything from them recently. Darren asks, when you think Cleanspark will regain a path to growth, the current path is screwed. Yeah, I mean, right now we're just waiting on infrastructure for them. They have the miners, right? Those are supposed to be getting delivered and everything else, so they need to have infrastructure. They got to get going on that. And I'm sure they're working on it. Let's see. Hi, will DMG do a reverse split? Can we see $4 any by August 2024? Where's any right now? Probably should just look at my own little thing. Missed it already. But any is at $1.80, $4 by August. Doubt it. Any also doesn't have any infrastructure. They host everything that they have right now, and they're in pretty particular spot with their finances right now. Let's see, Bitfarms price in July. I have no idea where that's going to go, depending where Bitcoin goes. It all depends on that. If Bitcoin goes up, let's say to 80, 85,000, you could see Bitfarms at that point, probably maybe in the $3, $4 range, maybe somewhere around there. But we got to get the new CEO in there, get some of the other stuff taken care of. Himanashi, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, market waiting for Bitfarms CEO. Exactly. We need that. And we need to figure out if Riot is still going to be going after Bitfarms to buy them out or not. Question, what will the impact of Bitfarms price if someone buys it over? Well, if they buy them out, you're going to get some shares of the other company, I think, and some cash. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out. Well, I don't know if it's all share deal. I don't think it's an all share deal that Riot wants to do. I think it's going to be cash and partially shares in that one. So whatever that buyout target is, buyout price, that's kind of basically where the stock is going to be trading at for that point. And that'll be the time to possibly get out or reevaluate IREN and see how they're doing with their Corsicana facility as far as uptime is concerned and other things on that one, and see if maybe you want to stick with it being a combined company. They're going to have Bitfarms operations in there on those facilities, which should be doing really good there. And then them getting possibly to like, what's it going to be, 52 exahash by the end of the year? That would make them a pretty big company there. So maybe that might make sense then. A question, what will be the impact of Bitfarms price if someone buys? Okay, we already covered that one, sorry. Can we see IREN at $25 per share in August of this year? That would be basically a double something from where they are right now. I think IREN should be, based on my math here right now, at least. Let's see, where's IREN? IREN is here. I have them between, let's see here, $13 to $19 as what I have them as fair value. Currently, based on the last 3 quarters and the current quarter, which is an estimated number, they're currently at $10 and something. So I do think they still have ways to go, but will we see them at, what was your question there? Will we see them at $25? Might be, well, depending where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin goes up to like 80, 85,000. Yeah, it might be able to get there. Just on the good news from Bitcoin going up and their growth. If we see that they have good growth in June, July, you could possibly get there. Let's see. Bitfarms will 30 to 40% on their CEO announcement will pump up. Yeah, possibly if it's a good CEO. Yeah, I could see that happening. Let's see. Doesn't HUT have a lot of access to power that could be priced in more? Could be priced in. Could it be priced in more? They do have access to power, but a lot of it is managed, right? So it's not that they own it or have access to it for themselves, but they manage for somebody else. So that's where I think a clarification probably needs to come in. Exactly how much do they have for themselves? How much do they have for under managed? How much is it for like shared or something like that? So they do have a lot of it, and they do have infrastructure or data centers in Canada that they could possibly plug in HPCs into that as well. But we haven't seen anything major from that front, at least not yet from them. And then I don't know if their data centers could even handle the thermal. What's the word I'm looking there? Thermal needs or thermal cooling needs of the H100s and things like that. Let's see here. Hold on to your Bitfarms shares in the next 12 to 18 months. BTC 150,000. That's kind of, I'm holding on to my Bitfarms shares until we get some finalization with Riot, whether they buy them out or not. When will Riot start gaining momentum? Once we start seeing more and more, increased uptime, especially at Corsicana and at Rockdale facility, when they get the miners swapped out at Rockdale as well. For the newer ones, with getting rid of the problematic ones. When that happens, I'm hoping that we see better uptime there at least. And then, of course, kind of the same thing. We need to see better uptime there. They just installed machines last month, about 3 exahash roughly, and they were operating on average about 1.4 exahash. So we need to see that go up higher. Will Bitfarms announce intra-month when 9.5 exahash will be fully energized? I think it would be wise on them to do it, right? I think they should put it in a tweet or something like that. It doesn't take much to do it. Put a press release out and simple. Yeah. If their PR person is not telling them to do that, they need to find a new PR person. Let's see. Simply Wall Street has IREN valued at $182. Wow. That's even more bullish than I am. I have them possibly in this bull run at around like $80, $85 potentially. So that's way more than I even have them at right now. But I'll take it. If it goes to 182, I'll definitely take it. Let's see. In the future, I need to get into U.S. markets right now. I can trade only on TSX. The Canadian dollar is at best 73 cents to U.S. dollar. I would have to take a big hit in the exchange. I don't know how you would do that trading on the. Maybe Hank is listening. If he's listening, Hank the Tank, he might have an answer for you there if he hasn't already answered it. Not sure how you would go about doing that. Do you have any thoughts on DMGI? They are only 100 million market cap. Yeah, the small company, not a lot of growth there. That's kind of where they are at. The growth is a big thing here in this market. I think they're only getting to like 2 exahash. But I think they reported their May updates. I'll have to take a look at that one. I haven't taken a look at it yet. Let's see. How much Riot added of Bitfarms on Thursday and Friday last week? I have not taken. I don't know. Let me see if we can find that really quick. We'll take a look at the SEC website, see if they reported anything really quick on it. We go there. Check out Bitfarms, see if anything was reported there. going down here, we have 06 prospectus and communications business combination formed for 25 on June 5th. Link post following post. Oh, there's just post that they own 12%. Like you guys can see it. So this is that one there. Let's see what else do we have here. Prospectus and communication, Riot platforms, ownership of 12%. Okay, so I haven't gotten anything new on that front. So maybe they stopped buying, maybe they haven't. We'll find out in a couple of days at least on that one. If Bitcoin reaches 100,000, at what price do you think CORZ, Cleanspark, and Bitfarms would reach? Thank you for everything. Yeah, you're very welcome. At that point, we're going up 50% from where we are right now. You could see those guys going at least 2x to 3x on top of that. So Bitcoin does 50%, 2x of that would be 100% from where they are to 200%, something like that. I would see as doable. It could go even higher than that, right? Any good news from Bitfarms or Cleanspark or anybody like that is going to propel the stock even higher, especially when Bitcoin is going up. Let's see. Cleanspark is doomed for not having other side businesses other than BTC mining. I don't think so. I don't think they're doomed. They've done a fantastic job here just on Bitcoin mining themselves. So is everybody else, right? It's just right now we're having this narrative around HPC AI, which we haven't had before. And we'll see how it all works out. And there's, I don't think it's a hype cycle for it, HPC and AI. I think that's going to be something that's going to stay around for a while, but you're going to have maybe some consolidation in the industry. Right now, you got everybody and their uncle getting into AI, right? But eventually, I think there's going to be some consolidation. How long it's going to take, I don't know. But there will be some consolidation. Bitfarms can't dilute here when it says Riot bid was too low. Well, they can still dilute. They've diluted probably already a large portion of it, I would think. Maybe not. I don't know. But just going by where the stock's been going and everything else, I think they've been diluting along the way. But they need to because their growth is pretty good this year, 21x by the end of the year. So they need to fund all that growth, the infrastructure, everything else there. Let's see. Is it too late to convert some of my Cleanspark into IREN? I don't know if it's too late. You may not see the gains or the X gains as you might have been able to if you got in earlier. But I think it's still an easy possibility this cycle. I think it's still possible of 5x from where it is right now this cycle. If Bitcoin goes to 250,000, maybe north of that, you can possibly even do better than that, right? So it all depends on where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin only goes to 100,000, and that's it for the bull run. Well, we might be only up 2 or 3x on the miners, and that would be it. Who cares if miners are holding Bitcoin? The whole point is for the miners to make money and grow. Yep. Bitcoin HODL has part of it too, I think. Depending on how it's being used, when it's being used, there is a way to do it, I believe, that is accretive to investors. So we'll leave it at that. Cleanspark no mining deal anytime soon. Also, Sandersville Transformer has not shipped date. Cleanspark is screwed without power. What? Yeah, I mean, any company is screwed without power. And you saw Bitfarms not being able to energize what was almost 2 exahash of gear because they're waiting for power connections and things like that. It all goes for everybody. Right, Cleanspark has had a pretty good run up, or at least pretty good track record as far as energizing things. So I'm not willing to bet them out of this yet. What percent chance that Luxxfolio plugs in next generation miners? Oh, yeah, geez, I don't even know what Luxxfolio is trading at anymore. I stopped tracking them about a year and a half ago when they got into financial trouble, and then, yeah, I don't even know. Probably very, very low. Let's see here. So right now it's FOMO on IREN CORZ. Nobody cares about Cleanspark, Riot, and Meta, right? Yeah, I mean, you see how things can change in the space here, but yeah, the ones that are doing better, you get a lot more traction in the meantime, and then, they're going to kind of get to a point where they're going to be probably more valued from where they are right now, and they're going to trade sideways for a little while, and then somebody else will come on with some good news, and people will be going into them. So it happens. It happens every time. Let's see. What's your potential for this bull run for Cleanspark dollar amount? My original target for them, and this was a conservative target for them, was $70. I'm still thinking that is a very conservative target for them. That would be only, like a 5x from where they are right now, depending where Bitcoin goes. I think it's definitely, I wouldn't say definitely, but I think it's possible that they could do it to get to that. And then if Bitcoin goes up even higher than that, we could see even more potentially. HD asks a question. I'm late today. Any info on Cleanspark dilution? Seems it hits $17 and sells back down to 50 almost daily. Yeah, I mean, when you see that, that could be the dilution happening there. I mean, Friday was a weird day anyways. Bitcoin was up in the morning and then down by the afternoon. So a lot of miners tanked on that happening, unfortunately, except for IREN at that point. What do you think about... Oh, excuse me. What do you think about Riot's current price? I think it's undervalued from where it probably should be. Depending on how you look at it, I could see it being kind of like lightly, fairly valued, but I still think it should be valued probably higher than where it is right now. Let's see. Do you think the exchanges will experience a Bitcoin shortage soon? Thank you. I mean, I think they're experiencing it now a little bit, but you got a lot of people that are also selling Bitcoin that have bought it last cycle, right around 69,000, right, potentially. And they're just looking at this thing as a scam still, right? Potentially, because they got into it the one time it was going up. It's like everybody's and their uncle's buying it. They bought it, and at that point, I think this is kind of what you're seeing there, as the people that got in late last cycle are now selling just to kind of break even potentially because they don't believe in it or something like that. When those folks are out, it should be more shortage out there for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin miners are only producing 450 Bitcoin per day, but we're seeing huge inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs, right? It's got to be a shortage there coming up eventually. Sebastian, thoughts on my portfolio? Bitfarms 50%, IREN 20%, Ethereum 25%, NVIDIA 5%. No Bitcoin in there, I see. Interesting. 25% Ethereum. I think Ethereum will do fine, just like Bitcoin will do. IREN 20%. Bitfarms, you know what my stance is on it. I think it's still a really good stock, but just it has to get over the FUD in there. The other one was NVIDIA. NVIDIA, depending when you got into these guys also, NVIDIA has had a huge run up here. I don't know how much more it can run up, to be honest. I know that I think they're doing a reverse stock split potentially to make it more appealing to people to buy it at a lower price. So maybe that will have a run up effect as well. I'm not sure on that one. But yeah, it doesn't look bad. Let's see. I think the market might be overly bullish given the jobs report, rate cut, uncertainties. Do you think there is any meaningful risk of a BTC pullback? Depending what kind of pullback we are talking about here. We've already seen a 23% pullback just recently here. So could we get a little bit more pullback from, I mean, we went up here shortly. So as far as meaningful pullback, like 50%, I don't think so. We could go down another, let's take a look here. Let's go to my screen. Bitcoin, you can see here that, we went down here from up here. That was like 23% dip in it, right? And then we've been pulling back out of that one. And I don't see, we could dip maybe down to like 66,000 range here, which would be the 100-day moving average, the simple day moving average here, line potentially. Before we start going back up, maybe. So we might have a little bit of a dip, but I don't think a huge dip would be in the cards. But you never know with Bitcoin. That's not the screen I wanted. I wanted this one. Okay. Thanks for the great content. Which miner is the most undervalued right now? Oh gosh, right now it's going to be tough because we've had a huge run up in CORZ, which I thought was one of the most undervalued companies. And then we've had IREN run up also. So that one's looking like it's maybe a little bit more or better valued, I guess, right now. The only one that's kind of left there would be Bitfarms, but Bitfarms has the FUD around it. So other than that, who else do we have in there? Wolf has had a huge run up here recently. Cypher, I think, is pretty well valued right now as it is. Yeah, it kind of leaves Bitfarms right now, that I see at least. Nice question. Do you think miners will double at the end of 2024? Depending where Bitcoin goes. I keep saying that I sound like a broken record. Bitcoin is what drives them up. right? For the most part, unless you have news from the miners that they're going to be growing to, whatever exahash target by the end of the year. But for the most part, Bitcoin is what drives them up. So we'll need to see where Bitcoin is. If Bitcoin does at least, for them to do a 2x, they would need to. No, Bitcoin would have to do 2x. It doesn't have to do 2x. I think it can do like 1x, 50% gains or something like that. I think at that point, the miners still could do a 2x, possibly. Since hash rate is increasing by all miners, will daily BTC production go more than 450? No. The only thing that will increase okay. Got to go back here a little bit. So remember, the 450 is block rewards that you get from the blockchain itself. On top of that, you can add into it the network transaction fees, which the miners have been seeing a substantial amount here recently, but it's coming back down a little bit. But that can increase the amount of Bitcoin that's being added to the miners for the revenue side of things, but doesn't add the number of Bitcoins being added into the circular or to the supply. Okay. Yeah. Right, to have the right supply. Supply is capped at 21 Bitcoin, but daily supply is going to be at 450 Bitcoin anyways. You can't change that. I mean, it's going to fluctuate. It's never going to be 450 exact because the block time is supposed to be at 10 minutes roughly. Sometimes it's a little bit faster, sometimes it's a little bit slower, but on average we get about 450 Bitcoin per day. Sam says, thanks Sebastian for doing great work and your inputs. You're very welcome. Thank you. What do you think Riot's price if the hash rate reaches 20 exahash in the next month? What is their operational uptime? That's a big question there. They could be at 20 exahash, but if they're operating at 8 exahash, well, that's no good. But if they're at 20 exahash installed and they're operating at like 15 exahash, okay, that's a lot better from where they were here just recently, operating at like 7 point something exahash or 8 exahash, whatever it was. At that point, the stock should do much better. As far as what their price will be, I don't know. Depending how much that's being priced in, or priced by the investors. But I would think it should get a nice jump there. Let's see here. This past week, Cleanspark, Riot, Mara, large hodl, no AI, they went down. Wolf, CORZ, IREN have no hodl, but they have AI. They went up. Figure it out, guys. Yeah, it's not just all AI. I don't think. IREN went up. They have a small AI business. Not small. I shouldn't say small. It's about 1 million a month roughly, give or take a little bit. But then you have CORZ went up because of the AI business, but that's huge. It's 3.5 billion over 12 years. So that how much Wolf has AI business? Not much either, right? They did say that they're going to be getting into AI, things like that. Okay, but there's really no catalyst for it to drive the stock up other than potentially we also had the acquisitions. Riot trying to acquire Bitfarms. You had CoreWeave trying to acquire Core Scientific, right? So you got acquisitions at play here, which I think some people might be looking at TeraWolf as a potential buyout, potentially. Does Gryphon have the all-star team of Rob Chang, Sam Slamson, and Chris Ensei? Don't know. I've only spoken to Rob before on Twitter Spaces or X Spaces. Don't know if he's got the right people there. Let's see. BitDigital is worth a look for an ETH proxy plate. Oh, excuse me. Burping. Possibly. But they've been doing ETH staking for a long time with the Ethereum spot ETF. You don't get the staking rewards from that. Let's see, if the Fed does not cut rates this year, they would. Why would they? Jobs and inflation still hot. How can BTC in the market ever go higher than where we are now? What can be the catalyst other than rate cuts? It's just supply and demand economics. You have a lot more people getting into it. Institutions, banks, pension funds, all those things are going to be driving the price up higher because the imbalance of supply and demand out there. That's going to drive simple supply and demand economics. Unfortunately, also play to this. Right? You have a lot of people that have 401k plans, retirement plans. They are going to have probably people that manage those will say put in 1%, 2% into Bitcoin, and they won't even know about it. So that's what's going to be driving the price up. But if we do get rate cuts, which we should, we already saw Bank of Canada decrease 25 basis points. We saw the EU, I think, also mentioned it last week. They're going to be dropping 25 basis points as well. So it's happening there slowly but surely. Nice mission. Thanks always. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming in. Just wondering why Cleanspark is lagging. Majority of my holding is in Cleanspark. Do I need to worry about it? No, I also have a majority in Cleanspark as well. I'm not worried about it. At least not yet. Right. I'll start to worry about it when we go another month or two without more sites being purchased. But right now, I think it's up huge still from the 52-week lows that it had. It's up 300 some odd percent. It had a nice day on Friday morning. It was doing really well, and then Bitcoin kind of went down and took it down with it. So I think it's getting close to maybe getting its break as well recently here, where Bitcoin goes up above 70,000 or something like that again. That should be a good catalyst there. But no, the only reason I would worry with Cleanspark, like I said, is if in a month or two we still don't have any significant news on infrastructure buys from them, which they're going to need. Hi, Seb. Do you think IREN and CORZ are in a overbought range and our expected correction? Don't understand Riot's future and HODL as compared to IREN. Stock prices are close for Riot and IREN. Yeah, stock price, but you also take a look at market caps. Market caps are, I think, more what you want to really look at there as far as evaluation of a company. But do I think that they could come down a little bit? Let me take a look at the chart here really quick on IREN. IREN, I think, is, let me see here. It is in the overbought territory on the RSI. We could see a little bit of a pullback. We saw it was up to $11.50 on Friday, and then it came down to $10.53. So we had a little bit of a break there. Let me see here. Well, let me show you guys this. So we could see one of these scenarios as well. So you can see here, it ran up, right? It ran up here. RSI got pretty high, and then we kind of traded sideways here for a little bit. Then we finally broke above it again, and we possibly could see the same thing. We're kind of in a territory where this is when they went public back here in, what was it, 2021? Yeah, in November 2021. So you can't really base them on this numbers over here or any of these because this was right at the bull run, at the end of the bull run. We were getting into the bear market there. I think basically removing all of this stuff back here, I would just look at where they are right now. Right now we're in price discovery potentially for them going forward. That's the way I would look at it. So we could trade a little sideways here, go down a little bit, get a little breather, and then we could possibly continue back up, going up much higher. But we'll see. Let's see. Do you think Cleanspark's price go down further? BTC price stay around 68,000? It's possible. Hi, Sebastian. Like your opinion on Bitdeer. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. Institutional reported BlackRock increased their holdings for Mara from 12.4 or to 12.4 from 6.4. What are your thoughts on that? Thanks for sharing stuff. Yeah. Gosh, I was reading some Twitter posts on it today. I don't know. Do they want to have maybe somebody on the board there? Do they want to maybe have more control of it there? Are they looking to maybe buy them out? BlackRock has huge capital. So anything's possible with BlackRock. If they want to start being in the space, especially since they have the spot Bitcoin ETF as well, what if they buy a miner and then sell those Bitcoin that they mine there to their ETF? I don't know. I mean, those are all just wild guesses here right now. But maybe they think that Marathon will do very well going forward and they want to benefit on it too. So it could be just that. Hard to say. Does Argo blockchain have any hope? Not that I'm seeing any right now, at least. I don't even think they have any facilities left. I think they sold all of those off. The only thing they have miners right now, and they're not installing any new miners. They've been stuck at, 2.6 exahash for a while now. I don't know. It's going to be tough for them. How the rate cut can affect BTC price. Rate cuts are usually, whenever you see that, it's usually a risk-on asset move potentially by investors. They see that as such, and that's how you can have Bitcoin price being affected by it because people are going to be buying on risk-on assets. I said, let's say Bitcoin price went up 50% up. How much would Bitfarms or any other miner go up? Like, what is the ratio of BTC to miners? Thank you. The ratio is usually if Bitcoin goes 2x, you could see the miners going like 2 to 3x on top of that. So you're looking at 4 to 6x, something like that, on average, if you look at the math. So if Bitcoin goes up 50%, you're looking at miners going up 100% to like 150 to 200% maybe, something like that. That also depends what kind of news they come out with. If there's good news, it could obviously pump the stock a little bit higher at that point as well. Hi Sebastian, should BTC 85K the next 6 weeks? Can Cypher hit 650? Where's Cypher? Cypher is right now at $4 and 85,000. Ooh, it'll be close. Let's see, Cypher here. Cypher, if we look at Cypher here really quick, it is also kind of trading sideways here. I mean, we got this wedge happening here, it looks like a little bit, which it could potentially break out of that wedge. Maybe then it will kind of take off a little bit. But right now it's just trading sideways, so I don't know if we get to 650. 650, I don't think it's ever gotten to 650 here yet, other than way back here. Yeah. Back here. This was back in the last bull run, it looks like, and towards the end of it, December. But recently hasn't gotten to 650 yet, so that might be a little tough. Just looking at the numbers that we have here on it. Okay. Back here. Let's see. Hold on, guys. Okay, covered that. Covered that. Covered that. Covered that. Let's see. BTC was born in 2010. It has never experienced a stock market recession fully yet, and at the black swan event of COVID, it dropped hard. So the market at that point. So if the market has stopped, why would BTC be bought? Well, who's saying that the market has stopped, right? We're not seeing any signs in the economy, at least not yet, that we're heading into a recession or anything like that. Could we get a short recession potentially in 2025 or 2026? Possible. It just all depends on what the Fed does with the interest rates and everything else. How does he go on the money printer? Does he go burr or does he not go burr? So that's a lot to digest, I guess, and a lot to try to figure out if that's going to happen or not down the road. I wouldn't worry about it. I'd worry about the next 3 to 6 to 9 months potentially with the miners here. And like I said, with the ETFs and the adoption that's happening here that we're seeing, I feel like Bitcoin's going to be going up much higher. Ed states, I feel like you dislike Wolf. Am I right? I have a large bag of it. I don't dislike Wolf. The only thing that I didn't like about Wolf for a long time actually, was the debt they had. That was my biggest concern with them there. They have been paying that off. They've been doing a fantastic job there. They have great power costs as well. But the only thing now is just a little bit of debt that they have and the lack of substantive growth in hash rate. If they can pay off their debt and then throw the money in from that they were paying debt off, throw it into miners and things like that, hash rate growth, I think the stock would pop, and it would pop probably pretty hard at that point. Okay, I think we are all caught up here. Let me see. Am I caught up? Okay, I got a couple more. Let's see here. I know that these stocks are volatile, but this is ridiculous. Why do you think that Cleanspark, Mara, and all the miners will be way up, then an hour massively down? Well, that's just the markets. The miners are very volatile when it comes to Bitcoin. Bitcoin goes up, they go up really hard. Bitcoin goes down, they go down really hard. So the best way that I've been able to get into this market is over the last 2.5 years, and that has been through just continued dollar cost averaging into it, because I didn't know where the bottom was going to be at. If I tried to play the market with charts and time the market, I would have gotten my butt kicked in it. So it depends on when you get in, how you do it, how you position yourself and things like that. I think there's many ways to make money here with the miners, right? Some people are better at timing the market, some are not. I'm not, so I've just been dollar cost averaging into it, but I'm up still 400% on, or a little less now, but like around 400% on Cleanspark. I'm up 70% on Bitfarms still. And who else? Recently I got into IREN. IREN's like 45, almost 50%. And then CORZ is up like 17% right now for me. So it just depends on how and when you get into them. But it is very volatile on that part. But so is Bitcoin. Let's see. I sold all my wolf positions and now I'm in 100% in Bitfarms. Do you think the board will give Ben the helm? Geez, I don't know. If they were going to do it, I think they would have done it already. Right, why wait so long to put Ben there? I think Ben would do great, but I don't know. Scott, thank you. Yeah, like the show, guys. Appreciate thumbs up. Definitely helps tremendously. Let's see. Are we all living on hope right now? Elliott wave theory is saying the market has topped unless Fed goes rate cuts to prop it up. Hope is not a good investment strategy. No, but we're going off historical trends. You can look at the bearish case or you can look at the bullish case. I tend to look at the bullish case, right? If you're a bear, yeah, you can definitely short the market and the miners and everything else, and you can make money off of it that way too. So it just all depends. I look at life being more than doom and gloom, I guess. I'm optimist by heart in that sense. So I look at the good things that I think are happening here. And if you think Bitcoin has topped and the markets have topped, then we might as well sell everything at this point. But there's still, let's see, employees are hard to find. There's plenty of jobs out there for everybody. Rates are a little high. I will give you that. So rates could come down a little bit, which I think the Fed will lower rates because we have also a presidential election this year. They're going to want to make the economy look pretty rosy for it. So for those reasons, and on top of other things, I think the economy will do well at least into 2025, and then after that, who knows what's going to happen, right? But I think things are going to be looking pretty good. Let's see. I just want you to know that your efforts are much appreciated. I learned a lot and still learning from your videos. Thank you so much, and have a good night. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. Bitfarms will turn many of us into Bitfarms millionaires. Yeah, it would be nice. That's kind of why we're investing in them. But we got to get rid of the FUD. I'm almost at the point to day trade them and not buy and hold. The volatility sucks. I mean, yeah, if you can time it, congrats. I wish you all the best there. I don't have time to day trade them. I worked in the day, so this is the way I kind of get into things by buying for a long period of time, dollar cost averaging down on in bear markets. Let's see. But I like being in the market. I don't. Who was it? Warren Buffett, I think, said it's time in the market, not timing the market. And I guess that is kind of true in that way. Definitely get a like. Thank you. Appreciate that. Hopefully Bitfarms puts out we're getting a new CEO. That would be good there. Ryan, thank you so much for the super chat, super sticker. Let's see. A rate cut has only come in a recession. Not always. I don't think we've always had rate cuts in recession. I think right now we've they're trying to cut or get control on inflation. That's the big thing right now. If they get inflation controlled where they want it to get to, and then they can lower rates at that point. Diamond hands, everybody. Brian said that. Agree. Scott, thank you again for the super chat. I think Bitfarms is ready to run like IREN, Cleanspark, and CORZ. I would agree. We need to get the FUD over there. Get the CEO, get Riot off their back as well. And I think things will be much, much better going forward. But we might be in some pain with Bitfarms for a little bit longer, I think. Will you sell Bitfarms if somebody buys them over? Yeah, I may have to reevaluate then whether or not I want to hold the shares or if I want to sell at that point. If it's Riot and we see Riot is doing much better on uptime, all those things that I'm looking at that point, maybe I'll hold on to the shares. Because I think at that point, the two companies could be a good thing maybe for investors. With them getting to 52 exahash combined this year, that would be, I think, good. But we need to have much better uptime from Riot. Let's see. Now BTC 250 away from 70,000 again. Tomorrow may be a good day for us. Yeah, let's see. Where's Bitfarms? Or Bitfarms? Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin's up $112 right now. Not too far away. You know, I'd rather have it trade sideways here over the weekend so that we don't get the, oh gosh, what are those called on the CME futures? The gaps. We don't have the gaps to possibly backfill again. So yeah. Let's see. If inflation doesn't come down to their target, will they cut rates anyway? The average American is out of gas and can't afford these high rates. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that got in, let me just say this. There's a lot of people that got in with the rates being so low on the housing. If they were able to stay in the house that they got in or refinanced it as well. There's a lot of people that refinanced around like 2.5%, something like that, really, really low. A lot of those people are doing pretty good right now. It's the people that didn't do that or bought recently within the last 2 years or so. Those are getting definitely squeezed a lot harder than anybody else, I think. And maybe once the rates start coming down, those people will be in a better position because they could possibly refinance at a lower rate as well on those. But you have high rates on cars. I mean, my gosh, my car payment right now is the interest on that. And I have really good credit, almost excellent credit score. I'm paying 8.9% on the interest on it. It's ridiculous. They used to offer 0% financing. Not anymore, or at least not the dealership that I went to or the car that I bought just last year. So yeah, it is hurting definitely there as well. And just the inflation itself is hurting. So, I mean, you're seeing before I used to go to a local store here for grocery store, spend $150 and you'd have a full cart. Right now I spend, $150, $200 and I have like half a cart or a little less than half a cart even of food. It's just gotten ridiculous out there a little bit. So wages, I think, more than anything, to kind of go up a little bit as well. Let's see. What do you think of Hive? I've been adding shares recently. I like Hive as a company. They're managed well. They have good operations. I could say even great operations. The only thing for me is growth. Not a lot of growth in hash rate. I think they're stating that they want to get to 8 exahash this year, which would kind of put them at the 1% mark, which I think maybe the network hash will get to about 800 exahash. So get them at 1% there. So that's the real thing that I'm looking for is growth, and I'm not seeing it from them. Yeah, let's see here. My mortgage rate is 3.9. The average rate now is 7. Good luck. Car interest rates are an average double digits. Yeah, depending on your interest or your credit score and everything else. Yeah, I know. I was lucky enough I got in the low 2s on my interest for my mortgage. So that's probably one of the reasons why I'm not going to be moving anytime soon. It just does not make sense right now. Let's see. Which miners do you think will be purchased by other companies? Will Riot increase their offer for Bitfarms? I mean, Riot has been buying their shares, so there's still obviously an intent there to buy them, but I don't know how much higher they want to go with that. I mean, you think like at $3, it would be it's over. What is it now? Probably over $1 billion company now. Anyways, let me see where Bitfarms is at. Bitfarms as of Friday, market cap, okay, 862. So I think getting at $3 would be $1 billion. I mean, do you really want to pay $1 billion for 21 exahash when you can probably build that out much cheaper? Does it really make that much sense for them? Unless Riot doesn't think it can get to 31 exahash on their own this year. Well, then maybe then it makes sense. Let's see. If Bitcoin hits 100,000, which miner from now do you see with high conviction having highest return from current prices? Good question on that one. Which miner do I see having the highest returns, highest conviction? And I would be a toss-up between Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and IREN. I think maybe Bitfarms. If they can get rid of the FUD that's around there, get the CEO and things like that, maybe they could have the highest returns because they've been beaten down so much. Other than that, IREN potentially, and then possibly Cleanspark. If Cleanspark comes out with news that they have bought infrastructure to get to that spot where they need to get to. But yeah, everybody else, let's see who else could be. I think those are like the top 3 that I'm looking at. CORZ as well, if they come out with news that they're getting to 40 exahash by the end of the year or something like that, if they're able to do that. Mark, you need to hodl that mortgage for dear life. Yeah, I know. We were thinking about selling the house that we have. When was this? A year ago, 2 years ago, I think. And interest rates weren't that bad yet. But we were thinking about it. And we came pretty close. We put an offer in the house, but we just got outbid. I knew I didn't want to spend more than I wanted to on it. So luckily, we did get outbid for it. And we're staying where we are right now. And that's why I'm doing all these honeydew projects this summer. We're redoing our kitchen. We're dropping walls, taking down walls, making it much larger than what it is right now. That's just because we're probably going to make this our forever home right now. Maybe we'll put a pool in next year. We're not going anywhere. And then maybe we'll buy like a little rental or something like that we can rent out, Airbnb or something like that in the next couple of years as well. Just to have like a weekend getaway house or something. See, do you think Bitfarms could be $15 a share by Thanksgiving? I think it will. $15 by Thanksgiving. Again, depends where Bitcoin goes. That should be depends on where Bitcoin goes, guy. Because it does. It just matters so much on where Bitcoin goes and where these guys will go or follow at that point. I ran across CORZ rights offering. The symbol is CORZ R. I called Fidelity. They don't have any details. Is there any new rights offering? I don't know. Not that I'm aware of. Okay, guys. I think we are... I got 2 more here coming in, looks like. I got that one. I covered that one already as well. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. All right, so we've been going on here for a little over an hour here. We'll call it a day. Last one here. My average for Cleanspark is around 340. I accidentally sold all my shares when it hit 6. I tried to shave some profits, but I accidentally sold it all. And since then, it's kept going up. Oh, sorry to hear that. That's kind of like what my price target, my average price is around $3.50 I think on Cleanspark. That's why I'm not selling it right now. I think it can still do very well. Okay. Darren, I will, Bitfarms is garbage. What kind of company ever goes this long without a CO? Yeah, I mean, I agree with you there. On that point, it is kind of ridiculous that it's taking them this long to get a CO in there. So I will not argue with you there. I will agree with you there on that one. Okay, but that's it, guys. We will see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow, what do we got going on tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday. No, Friday. I wish it was Friday. It's Monday tomorrow. Not that one. I wanted to do this one. Okay. So tomorrow is Monday. We are still missing, I believe, Hut 8 and Hive May production updates from them. So once we get those, we'll get going on some of the monthly rankings of the miners against all the other miners. We'll get that going. What else are we missing here? We'll get into some other things, and we'll just see where Bitcoin goes, and if we get any news updates on Bitfarms and Riot, and will CoreWeave come out with a bigger offer for Core Scientific potentially? We'll find out if that happens too. So there's a lot going on there. We'll get you guys all covered up with everything that's happening this past week. So that is it. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Right? Be patient out there. We're still, I think, very early in this game. We still have a ways to go. So remember that. We're early in at this point right now. Okay. All right. I wish you guys all well. I'll see you guys tomorrow.